Daylight, my MVVs, welcome. After all the plea, when the Lion of Odua summoned the two Ifa priests to begin the Ìtúwàṣẹ ritual, the palace, atmosphere shifted into something no one had felt in a long time. The word alone, Ìtúwàṣẹ, carried a weight that made families collapse in tears. It's not an ordinary punishment, not just a quarrel between man and wife. Ìtúwàṣẹ meant separation, cutting off, placing a line so clear that no one could cross it again. It's like pushing someone out of a river and locking the bank forever. That is what Ìtúwàṣẹ means. And it takes a very long process. It's not something that is done 1 day or 2 days. They said it takes a minimum of, 4 days to be completed. Yes. And it takes a lot of traditional materials. They have to start sourcing for traditional materials. And once the traditional materials are, finally completed, they can go away ahead and do the Ìtúwàṣẹ ritual. The process itself is not something you rush. The priests arrive with their calabashes and sacred instruments, chanting quietly as they walked into the royal court. The elders sat in silence, their faces grim. Ebony's family knelt at the side, sobbing uncontrollably. But no one gave them comfort. The lion himself looked stained, the staff of authority resting beside him. He had won, he had waited, he had endured, but now it's time. He has chosen the path of Ìtúwàṣẹ. It is not a small thing. They said if you see the cry. They said the priests first began with purification. They sprayed white chalk in 4 corners of the court to invite the ancestors as witnesses. Then they broke kola nut, placed them in front of the lion and offered them to the gods of the land. The breaking of kola nut is to say we are not doing this in secret. Heaven and earth must see, ancestors must witness. If we caught, let it be caught truly. Now, they said the Ifa priest, after breaking the kola nut, they asked Gbàs the first time if he is really ready to do this, because it's not something he will do and he will go back to. Look, Ìtúwàṣẹ is not the kind of ritual that you will do. After days, you regret doing it, and you now call the diviners to come and undo it. No, if you do it, you have done it for life. It's not something that you go back and reconciliation can build it or nothing. No. It is not that kind of a thing. So when they broke the kola nut, the first step was to find out before 14 elders. That is the process. Before 14 elders of the palace. They will ask again 3 times, if Gbàs wants to do it. Gbàs had accepted the first time. They will go again, and they will come back again, and they will ask again. They'll break kola nut. The ancestors will be there, and they will ask if Gbàs still wants to go through with it. He might say yes, or he might say no. They will go again, and they will come. And they have done the first asking. And he said yes, he wants to do it. And you say that's the reason why you say Ikpi was crying, that Gbàs had always had it in mind to leave her. Gbàs had always had it in mind to leave her. That is being part of Gbàs's desire for her to go out of his life. That is why, Ikpi was crying like that. They said the Ifa priest who came to do the asking came into the royal court with a seriousness that made everyone's heart heavy. The first stage of Ìtúwàṣẹ had reached the point of the asking. And this is no joke. In front of 14 elders, like I said earlier, the Lion of Odua was made to sit with his staff of authority beside him. On the other side sat the families of Ebony and Ikpi, trembling, crying, silently, waiting for a miracle. Everyone knew that once the first asking was done, the process had officially begun, and there was no more pretending. The lead priest stood holding his divining chain. He looked at the Lion of Odua and spoke in a voice that filled the court. Kábíyèsí, in the presence of these elders before the gods of our land, before your ancestors, we asked you, are you ready to cut ties with these wives? Are you ready to separate not only from them, but from their lineage, from their covering, from their bond to this house? They said the court went silent. Even the sound of breathing, okay, seemed too loud, okay? Ebony's mom clutched her wrapper and muttered prayers. Under her breath, Ikpe's younger, elder sister shook her leg, nervously, almost, falling over from the weight of the moment. Everyone expected, or at least hoped, that Kábíyèsí would hesitate because of the way that they have begged and begged. But one thing again that people need to know about Kábíyèsí, recently, Kábíyèsí has been going on. If he starts something, he takes it to the end. And I think that is the reason why a lot of people are so scared. There is a likelihood that he's going to take this to the end. They said they expected or hoped that Kábíyèsí would hesitate. Maybe that he would say no. Maybe he would pause for mercy, but they say Kábíyèsí's face was like stone. He raised his head slowly, looked at the elders, and gave his answer, yes, I am ready. That's the first action. They said it was like a thunder just fell in that spot where they were. The families collapsed instantly into loud wailing. Ebony's family, fell forward on his knees, hitting his, the ground, begging. They say if you see begging, that they were begging. But this time, people just realized that the man, that is Kábíyèsí, has become very, very upset. Now, the importance of that first action is that it sets the intention. Tradition says the lion cannot be forced. He must, 3 times confirm his readiness before the gods and the elders. Each time is paced by 4 days. Those 4 days represent the circle of the market week in Yoruba land. In that period, the person being cut off has a small window to show remorse, to beg, to attempt reconciliation, or to receive pity from the gods through dreams or signs. The cycle gives space for reflection, because once the third action is done, there is no turning back. This is how terrible this whole thing is right now. They say the elders rose one by one after, the lion's declaration, stamping their feet on the ground to seal what had just happened. One elder spoke. The first action is done. For 4 days, let her family cry. For 4 days, let the heavens watch. For 4 days, let her show if there is still humanity left in her. If after 4 days, the lion speaks again and says yes, then the gods will know he has not spoken in anger, but in conviction. Hey, wahala deo. It is not a small something, no. They are right. They said that statement only deepened the pain of the families. Ebony's uncle shouted, through tears. 4 days is too short. 4 days cannot wipe years of love. Kábíyèsí, have mercy. Kábíyèsí, have mercy. They said the lion did not reply. His silence was his answer. As the court dismissed, the wailing did not stop. Outside, women, were, in fact, Ebony too has got her own supporters. They were crying and they were begging and they were praying. I'm going to bring you more updates, though. Do not forget that these are all alleged rumors, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.